Imagine this. You're a plant manager who just came back from a lean conference. You're fired up. You've got fresh ideas, new tools, and you're ready to transform the way your facility works. So what do? You sit down with your leadership team. You map out the problems that you see, and you roll out some new initiatives. You may even reorganize a few processes. And from your perspective, it feels like real progress is being made, but here's the catch. You've only been looking at the tip of the iceberg. The problems you and your managers see are but a small fraction of what's really going on. Meanwhile, your hourly operators, the people who are actually closest to the work, they're watching all of this unfold. They see issues that you've never touched. They see changes that they weren't consulted about. And slowly they start to resent the interference. Some begin to worry that lean is just another excuse to cut jobs. Others may even quietly resist, doing the minimum while waiting for this new program to fade away just like the last one. The culture takes a hit. The morale drops, and before long, your lean initiative stalls. You're left frustrated, wondering why it failed. Hi, I'm Matthew Romoser, but my students call me Doc Romo. I've been teaching students and mentoring professionals in industry for the past 24 years, helping people apply Lean Six Sigma and human factors principles to solve real-world problems. And in this video, we're going to talk about why it is that top-down lean initiatives sometimes fail, and how you, as a leader, can engage your employees the right way. This story plays out in organizations everywhere. You're not alone. And it's not because lean doesn't work. On the contrary, lean is very effective. They fail because the way it was introduced guaranteed failure from the start. And here's why. There's a concept called the Iceberg of Ignorance. CEOs may only know about 4% of the problems in their organization. Middle managers may see about 9%. Supervisors, because they're a little closer to the process, may see 3/4 of the problems. But the hourly operators, the people who are actually doing the work every day, they see 100% of the problems because they're so close to the process every day. The higher up you go, the less you actually know about what's happening. And yet, it's usually those unseen problems, the ones only operators experience, that drag down performance, quality, and safety. So when leaders try to do lean all by themselves, fixing only the 4% that they can see, they ignore the very people who hold the key to real improvement. And that's why momentum collapses. There's research that backs this up. A study published in 2017 found that in Kaizen programs, when leaders gave support and resources but let employees generate and implement the ideas themselves, the results were powerful. Work processes improved, stress went down, and job satisfaction shot up. So Kaizen isn't just about efficiency. When done right, it makes people's work lives better too. And really, that's the point. Improvement starts with employees, but only succeeds when leaders don't just push change from the top. They actively support it from the ground up. And that's the why. That's why ignoring your team doesn't work. But what does an effective improvement cycle actually look like? Well, let's take a closer look at the Kaizen process itself. Now, let's zoom out for a moment and talk about the Kaizen cycle itself. At a high level, it's pretty straightforward. You start by getting employees involved. You gather a list of problems. You encourage them to come up with solutions. You test those solutions, measure the results, adopt what works, and then you repeat that cycle again. That's the Kaizen cycle. Now, most of you watching have seen this diagram maybe even dozens of times before. It's really the classic improvement loop. But here's the catch. The step that trips leaders up more than any other is that very first one: get employees involved. And not just at the start, but at every stage of the process. And that's where many leaders misunderstand their role. Your role as a leader isn't to do the change yourself. Your role as a leader is to facilitate change, to create the space, the safety, and the support that your team needs to drive the improvements themselves. Again, don't just take my word for it. In a 2023 research study of 26 Kaizen events in a Finnish hospital system, they found that sustained improvement wasn't guaranteed. Half of those events led to sustainable improvements. The other half didn't. They failed. The difference maker in that study was culture, motivation, and leadership follow-through, especially when it came to preparation and consistent follow-up. So the problem isn't understanding what Kaizen is. The problem leaders struggle with is figuring out how to involve their teams effectively and how to support them so the changes actually stick. And that is where we need to go next. Now, at this point, a lot of leaders ask the same question. Okay, I understand the Kaizen cycle. I get that employees need to be involved, but how do I actually make that happen? How do I get my team engaged? And that's the challenge. It's not an insignificant one, because without leadership involvement, without your visible support, and without real recognition of your employees' contributions to the effort, the cycle will eventually collapse. That's inevitable. The truth is, people won't buy into a lean program just because it's announced. People don't respond to a pretty sign. They buy in when they see their leaders actively walking the talk, listening, encouraging, and creating opportunities for them to succeed. It's not enough to understand the mechanics of Kaizen. Leaders need a clear way to think about their role in supporting it, a framework. Which brings us to the Kaizen Leadership Equation. Let's get into the heart of this video, the Kaizen Leadership Equation. So the equation is written like this: P equals K plus S times A times O over T. And here's what that means. P is for performance, or if you prefer, people. It's a way of capturing how well your team is functioning from top to bottom in your continuous improvement efforts. K is knowledge, and S is skills. They complement each other, knowing what to do and having the ability to actually do it. A is attitude, and that is a reflection of how enthusiastic your people are, and it's a window into your company's culture. O is opportunities, and as a leader, your job is to create them. And finally, the one that you want to minimize, T for threats. These are the things that eat away at psychological safety and drain motivation. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Oh no, math. Don't worry. This isn't about crunching numbers. Sure, you could create a rubric and assign scores from, say, 1 to 10 if you really wanted to calculate P. But in reality, this is a framework, a way of kind of understanding and wrapping your head around how these different factors interact to shape performance. And as your company improves, the K, knowledge, S, skills, A, attitude, and O, opportunities, and works to eliminate or minimize T, threats, the performance of your people, P, will increase. That's the lesson really behind the Kaizen Leadership Equation. And here's the key. Every one of these variables is something that you, as a leader, can influence. When you raise the right ones and lower the others, your people and your improvement efforts can thrive. So before we start breaking it down one variable at a time, I want to give credit where credit is due. This framework was developed by Peter Weiss, a Kaizen practitioner who's done a brilliant job of capturing what leadership in continuous improvement really looks like. And this equation inspired me to make this video. Peter was kind enough to give me permission to share it with you here. And if you'd like to explore more of his thinking, you can find him on LinkedIn or at his website, mindkaizen.com. And I've included links in the description below. So with that, let's dive into each part of the equation. The first variable is knowledge. This is what people know about the process, about lean methods, about the goals of your organization. As a leader, you can influence knowledge directly by making sure your team has access to the information they need. Now, that could mean clear communication about strategy. It could mean training sessions or giving people time to learn new methods. I've seen companies send employees to conferences, sponsor tuition reimbursement, or hold in-house workshops. Those investments pay off because when knowledge increases, people feel more capable of contributing. And here's the key. If knowledge is low, performance suffers, even if the other factors are strong. But as soon as you raise that dial, give your people the why and the how, their performance potential jumps. Next is skills. Now, knowledge and skills are different. They're often confused with each other. Knowledge is knowing what to do. Skills are the ability to actually do it. You can think about it in terms of, say, driving a car. You might know the rules of the road, but without practice behind the wheel, you don't yet have the skills to handle traffic. In the same way, your team needs chances to practice improvement skills, running Kaizen events, doing root cause analyses, mapping processes. These are learned by doing. And again, as a leader, you can control this dial. You can create skill building opportunities through projects, mentoring, cross-training, and structured practice. When knowledge and skills come together, that's when you see a real lift in performance. One can help a little without the other, but the combination of knowledge and skills is what drives lasting change. And speaking of building knowledge and skills, I founded System Scholar to help process engineers and leaders like you who want real-world guidance on human-centered process improvement. I offer Lean Six Sigma training, custom workshops, and one-on-one mentorship with services tailored to your situation and your budget. If you scan the QR code and connect with me on LinkedIn, just mention this video and I will apply a 30% discount to whatever package we put together. And don't worry, the first consultation is completely free and no obligation. It's just simply a chance for us to see how I can help you and your team succeed. So now, back to the video. Attitude is how people feel about their work, about their leaders, and about the future. In many ways, it reflects the overall culture of your organization. And here's the challenge. Attitude is a lagging indicator. It doesn't change overnight. It's built on trust, and trust has to be earned, especially if you're just starting out on your continuous improvement journey. You can't just flip the switch on a Kaizen program. When people feel safe, motivated, and valued, their attitude reflects it. But if they feel ignored, dismissed, or threatened, Trust erodes and attitude suffers as a result. That's when passive resistance can creep in and meaningful change grinds to a halt. And here's something that leaders sometimes overlook. Psychological safety, it cuts both ways. Employees need to feel safe to speak up, of course, but also managers need to feel safe admitting that they don't have all the answers. A strong attitude on both sides comes from humility. The best leaders are willing to say, show me how you do this. What are the pain points that you face? How would you handle them? When managers open the door in that way, employees step through it, and trust grows on both sides. This is where leadership shows up most clearly. Your words, your body language, your consistency, they all shape your team's attitude. When attitude is high, it multiplies the impact of knowledge and skills. When it's low, it drags everything else down. That's why recognition, encouragement, and authentic support matter. People don't just want training. They want to feel respected, trusted, and included at every level. And never forget this: the hourly operator who runs the process that you're trying to improve is the single most knowledgeable person in the plant about that process. They know more about it than you ever will as manager or lean leader. Leaving them out or failing to treat them as an equal partner in the program is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. Next is opportunities. People can have knowledge, skills, and even a great attitude, but if they don't have real opportunities to use them, performance goes nowhere. You can think of opportunities as a stage where improvement happens. As a leader, your job is to build that stage, to give your team the space to identify problems, to test solutions, and see their ideas put into action. Now, sometimes that stage is a structured Kaizen event. Other times it might be something smaller, a daily huddle where ideas are welcomed, or a simple pilot project where a team can try out a fix that they've come up with. But opportunities don't end there. They can also mean things like career growth, advancement, promotions, and in some cases, raises or bonuses when companies choose to share the savings generated by continuous improvement efforts. Linking rewards directly to employee effort and ideas not only motivates participation, it also sends a clear message. Your contributions are valued, and I see them. Paying a portion of project savings forward to employees in the form of raises or bonuses is something I always recommend. And here's the powerful part. Creating opportunities doesn't just drive improvement, it strengthens attitude too. People light up when they see that their ideas matter, that they've been implemented. And when they know they're not just heard, but their ideas are acted on and their efforts are rewarded. Finally, we come to threats, T. This is the denominator in the equation for a reason. Threats can erode everything else. Threats show up in many forms. Sometimes it's the obvious fears. Fear of losing your job, fear of being blamed if an idea fails, or fear of wasting time on yet another initiative. But threats can also be more subtle. Conflicting priorities, mixed messages from leadership, or the sense that management isn't truly committed to continuous improvement. Here's something that leaders often underestimate: the power dynamic between a boss and an employee. Talking to your manager, or especially the owner of the company, can feel intimidating. That's scary, even if that leader comes across as well-intentioned. For many employees, even just speaking up to authority or talking to your boss feels risky. Trust plays a huge role in lowering that perceived threat. As a leader, your role is to turn that threat dial down. You create psychological safety by making it clear that mistakes are learning opportunities and they won't be punished. You reinforce that lean is about building better processes and stronger teams, not about layoffs. And you lead by example and follow through on promises and support consistently so your people trust that improvement isn't just the flavor of the month. In short, when threats are high, performance plummets, no matter how much knowledge, skill, or attitude is in the system. But when threats are low, people feel safe to experiment, to speak up, and safe to try new things. That's when real improvement takes root. So, knowledge plus skills multiplied by attitude, multiplied by opportunities divided by threats, that gives you people performance, P. And here's the beauty of this equation. Every single dial on this board is one that you can influence as a leader. Knowledge and skills, you can invest in training, coaching, and practice opportunities. That's how people grow their capability and confidence. Attitude, you shape it every day through your consistency, your recognition, and the trust you build with your team. Opportunities, you create them by giving your people a stage, whether that's a structured Kaizen event, a small pilot project, or even the chance to advance, earn recognition, or share in the savings their ideas produce. And threats, you reduce them by fostering psychological safety. That means making it clear that lean isn't a code word for layoffs and that mistakes are learning opportunities and they will not be punished. And don't forget the power dynamic. For many employees, just speaking to a manager or an owner can feel intimidating. So trust is what lowers that perceived risk. And to build that trust, well, you have to earn it. It takes consistency over time. You just can't flip a switch and start a lean program. So when you look at this equation, don't see it as abstract math. See it as a dashboard. You have your hands on every dial. Turn them the right way and performance rises. Ignore them and the whole system can collapse. So what does this look like in practice? How can you, as a leader, put the Kaizen Leadership Equation to work for you every single day? First, lead from the front. If you want your people to embrace Kaizen, they need to see you living it too. Join problem-solving sessions, show up at improvement events, ask questions. Demonstrate that this isn't just a program for them. It's how we collectively do business. Second, support employee efforts. That means removing barriers, providing resources, and ensuring that teams have the time and tools that they need to succeed. When employees hit obstacles, your role is to clear the path so they can keep moving forward. Third, reward successes. Recognition is one of the most powerful levers that you have. Celebrate small wins. Thank people publicly. Highlight the teams who took risks and tried new things. Every act of recognition boosts attitude, reinforces opportunity, and signals that Kaizen is valued. And fourth, reduce threats. This is about creating psychological safety. If people worry that speaking up will get them punished or that experimenting might put their jobs at risk, improvements will stop cold and passive resistance will set in. You need to make it safe to fail small, learn, and try again. That is where real breakthroughs happen. The evidence is clear. When leaders set clear goals and then follow up, improvement sticks. So remember, you don't have to have all the answers. Your job is to create the environment where people can bring the answers forward, and then you support them as they do it. In the end, Lean isn't about tools, charts, slogans, or even a pretty sign in the break room. At its core, Lean only succeeds when it's human-centered and grassroots, when the people closest to the work are given the knowledge, the skills, the opportunities, and probably most importantly, the safety to improve it. I'm sharing this with you because when I saw Peter Weiss's Kaizen Leadership Equation, I found it very insightful. It was kind of a light bulb moment for me. I thought it was a great roadmap and framework to think about the question leaders in industry struggle with most: how to make continuous improvement happen. Every dial in his equation, knowledge, skills, attitude, opportunities, and threats, is something that you as a leader can influence. And really the truth is, your people are always watching you. They take their cues from you, your consistency, your follow-through, and the trust that you build with them. Their values will reflect your own. When you turn those dials the right way, performance will follow. So a big thank you again to Peter for giving me permission to feature his equation. So here's my challenge to you. Stop ignoring your team. Start leading Kaizen the right way. Step in. Create the environment for success, and then watch what your people can accomplish when they feel safe, valued, and included. And if you're ready to take that step, you know where to find me. Just scan the LinkedIn QR code on screen, mention this video, and I would be happy to mentor you in this process and coach you. And I'll honor that 30% viewer discount on mentorship or training. And finally, if you found this valuable, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and most importantly, leave a comment. Nowadays, YouTube prioritizes engagement. So the best way you can support this channel if you find this content useful is by engaging me in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences with Kaizen leadership. Your comments won't just help me, they'll help more leaders like you find this message. So thank you. And remember our motto: educate yourself, and quality will follow. Have a great day. Hey, thank you for watching. Check out our video here to dive deeper into human factors and human-centered process improvement. And subscribe over here so you don't miss out on our next video when it drops. Thank you.